Okay, well, human trafficking is, I believe it's a really big problem here in the US, and it's not something that a lot of people talk about, and it's really a shame. Because human trafficking, you hear about people getting kidnapped and held and different things like that, and you might hear of human trafficking abroad in other countries, but human trafficking happens here. People are trafficked for labor and they're trafficked for sex as well. Um, I don't know exact statistics, but I think you probably will find more girls are probably trafficked for sex. And a lot of girls or women are on the streets selling their bodies, and all the times it's not their choice. And other times they're trafficked into doing things like that. And it's really a shame because human trafficking is such a big subject, and it's a lot of different ways somebody could be trafficked. Girls run away. Some girls are just they run away. They're looking for love in all the wrong places. Different things like that. It was one documentary that I saw. It was called "Not My Life," and it was one girl on the documentary. She was from, I want to say from Texas, but I could be wrong. But her and her friend ran away, and her friend knew this guy that said, like, if you ever want to run away, you can just come with me, and I can take you away, whatever. So they ended up running away one day, and he took them, and she said they just kept driving and driving and driving. And she tried to ask, like, where are we going? Like, we want to go back home now. Of course, he's like, no, you got to stay with me. And they end up miles and miles and miles away from where they live. And he told them that they had to go and, perform these sexual acts for money in his trailer park. And it's like, these girls are so young. I feel like she was like 12, or her friend was maybe 11 or 12. And they're going around doing these things that they've never done before, and they're doing it so they can stay alive. And it's a shame. And a lot of these things happen like right under our nose. I know Super Bowl, the Super Bowl, when that happens, that's one of the biggest days in the U.S. that people are trafficked, because everything is happening at the same time. Nobody's concerned about anything else but the game, and getting together with friends and all of this. So nobody's going to pay attention to a van packed with people or anything like that. Nobody's paying attention. And it's crafty, it's sneaky. um I know another way that they do transactions through marbles, and different marbles mean certain things. And it's like, for something that hasn't really, I think the first person that was actually like convicted of like a crime or something, anything like that, happened this past summer. And it was the first time actually justice was like was served for somebody who's trafficking, young people or people in general. And it's like, it's 2013, and for that to be the first time it happened, so that kind of shows that human trafficking isn't number one on the list to get rid of. You hear about drug gangs and things like that, but human trafficking isn't up there with one of the things that a lot of people know about. And I feel like it's so advanced at what they're doing. Usually things like, what am I trying to say? Usually crimes that people commit, they start to advance when the cops are like on them, like hotcakes. Like, all right, they're on us, so we got to come up with something new. But human trafficking, nobody's really been tracking that enough for them to say, all right, let's come up with these new ways to, change things around. And the whole marbles and using that, it was like ridiculous. And then they're selling these girls or these boys or whoever, and it's a profit that can be made over and over and over again. Like, and then certain things that can happen if they're doing it for sex, then they might sew the girls back up, just to like sell them as a virgin or use them like that. It's horrible. I know one personal experience that I had was, I was at work, and it was at a mall at King of Prussia Mall, and that's another one of the places where people are trafficked all the time. is a big hot spot. And I was at work. I worked at a department store, one of the big department stores, and I was working in like the swimsuit section. And you're supposed to walk around, talk to people, ask them how they're doing, what they're looking for, what type of things they're looking for. And it was these two guys that were there. I didn't know. I'm not sure, what their nationality was or anything like that, but they were like looking at bathing suits or bikinis, and they were picking them up, and they grabbed like three different sets of the same kind of bathing suit, and it seemed kind of weird in a way, but some guys could be looking for their girlfriends, joking around with their friend, but it just seemed kind of eerie. And they were picking them up, and they were like really having this serious, deep conversation about what they were looking for, how many they should have. They asked if they had any more in that same kind, and I'm like, no, what was theirs was here. And it was just weird, and I'm just thinking to myself, what could this be an example of? Them getting something for girls they traffic or they're trying to sell. And it would seem like sometimes people may think, oh, that's just far out there, or no, that's not what's happening. But you still never know. And it's always the times where you're like, oh, that's not happening, that's what's happening. And for it to be at King of Prussia Mall, where this happens all the time, you get a lot of visitors, you get a lot of tourists there. So you never know.